And I am going to be letting people in as I present. And so it may be a little bit choppy. And that is because our Director of Guidance, Aaron Kind, is working to try to get his internet service going. And our ninth grade counselor, Tim Nelson, is on his phone because his power just went out. So I am going to begin. My name is Ann Meyer, for those of you who don't know me, and I am the high school principal. Welcome to all of you who are our incoming parents. Some of you might have children in the high school already, and for those of you who do not, welcome to Bronxville High School. This year right now is my 11th year as the high school principal, and I also taught in the high school before being principal. I taught in the science department as a biology, chemistry, AP Bio, and AP Environmental teacher. So I have been a part of the Bronxville School for about 17 years. So it is a very special place to me. And this is a exciting evening where we welcome you all to the high school. And the purpose of the evening is to go over some of the specifics about the high school experience and in particular courses that are available to your children and maybe how to think more broadly about the 4 years of high school as it relates to state requirements and also just in general what's available to your child in terms of curriculum. We will also go over a bit about our freshman transition program, which is something we have in place to support all of our ninth graders, and also a little bit about logistics in terms of when your children will be signing up for classes, etc. So right now I'm going to share my screen and we will begin going over the information related to courses in the high school and the high school experience. So let me do that right now. And again, I just apologize. I'm kind of doing 3 or 4 things at once. So again, welcome to the high school class. Your children are the class of 2028, which is kind of crazy. And just a tiny bit more information about me. I have an 8th grade son. He will not be going to Bronxville High School, but I will be going to our high school presentation in my town soon. And I have a daughter who is a sophomore. So I am very familiar with being a high school parent and an incoming high school parent. And so I can kind of appreciate all this information you're going to be getting. And just know that if you have questions, we are here to answer those questions. So don't get too overwhelmed this evening. It's an overview with a lot of information, but this information will get repeated and we are always available if you need to reach out. So this evening, we're going to briefly go over the counseling department and what the guidance department will be providing over the 4 years of high school, so you get a sense of the programming. We're going to go over the daily schedule in the high school, which is a little bit different than the middle school schedule, and some information about the departments that we have in the high school, what they offer, and focusing on our ninth grade curriculum. And then we'll open it up to questions. And now I'm going to hand it over to Aaron, and we will see how he does with his internet and power because he just lost power. Aaron, I'm going to hand it over and you can go ahead and go over the guidance overview.
Okay. Thank you, Ann. You can hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm so sorry. I'm on my phone because I'm like power flickering here. So I hope all of you have your power and everybody's warm and safe and dry. It is very nice to meet all of you. Um, we very much look forward to welcoming your children to the high school. It's going to be a fantastic experience. We have a dynamic faculty, and they're going to have an amazing time. And we very much look forward to welcoming them in September. Just a few words about the counseling department. You're going to hear momentarily from Tim, who is going to be your contact person in the counseling department for ninth grade. He's working with the entire ninth grade, in addition to the fifth, but for the purposes of this meeting, he's working with all of the ninth graders. So you're going to hear from him and see him a lot in the months to come. When you think of the high school counseling, the programming, we as you see, we try to make contact with students in a variety of forms throughout the year. So this, this first touch point with you as parents is obviously this big group meeting, and as you'll hear from Tim throughout tonight, we've met with the eighth graders twice thus far in advisory, and we're meeting with them again actually tomorrow in advisory to finish up our sort of transitioning to high school programming with the eighth graders, which includes talking to them about some of the course options that they have to select from, which you'll hear about towards the end of the call. And then as they mature through high school, the touch points become more frequent, they become more individualized, leading up into sophomore, junior, and senior year. And throughout the year, in every grade, we're continuing to bring programming and services that sort of meets the students where they're at and also covers just sort of like topical themes as, depending upon their grade level. We dive into the college process, I would say the latter half of 10th grade, but really in 11th grade. And then you could see the programming in both 11th and 12th grade is very college heavy. As I mentioned, Tim is working with the entire ninth grade. So I would say about a year from now, you'll get an email from myself, get some for your child. That myself and the three other counselors in the high school will be with them grades 10, 11, and 12. So this new model that was actually just introduced this year is both allowing Tim to better get to know the next and ease the transition and provide a tremendous amount of programming through the freshman transition program, which you'll hear about, and then also allows myself and the three other high school counselors to work more closely with the upperclassmen, addressing sort of like where they're at and their needs as they move through high school. So we're really excited about, again, welcoming your children to the high school. They're going to have a great experience. They're in great hands, and yeah, I look forward to meeting all of you in sort of the weeks and months to come.
And now we'll hand it over to Tim, who, as Aaron said, is going to be all of the ninth graders' guidance counselor next year. And he's already been meeting with your children. So Tim, if you are available and able to speak, I'm going to hand it over to you. But it is possible that Tim is not, because Tim's internet went out. So I'm just gonna, actually, Aaron, do you want to take this slide?
Sure, no problem. So the freshman transition program has been in existence for quite some time. Most recently, we've been just continuing to build on its success and innovate and draw feedback from students, both ninth graders and upperclassmen, to make it that much better. And the idea is to really have students that have gone through the process of high school, that being upperclassmen, speak to ninth graders about going through high school. And so it's become a much more selective group of students that become freshman transition leaders. There's an application process and a screening process that we go through with the students to make sure that students are ready and capable and willing to take on this responsibility. And then the upperclassmen are paired with ninth graders based on their Health 9 class, which Ann will speak to in a little bit. So these meetings take place during Health 9, during the school day, and cover everything, as you can see, from social life in Bronxville to study skills. And we also try to do a tremendous amount of just team building events, really to get to kind of cut across some of the social groups that exist in high school and have students both in grades 9, 11, and 12 just get to meet other people and sort of interact with maybe people that you wouldn't typically interact with. And really to just, as you can see, build connection and build community. Those were the two key themes that sort of came out of the pandemic. High school. They want actually want a community. And we feel like this program does a really great job of doing that. This model is also in its first year, and I know speaking to Tim and speaking to our Health 9 teachers, and obviously also we feel like it's been a tremendous success, and we're looking forward to making it even that much better, for next year.
Tim, just checking because I believe you just rejoined. Do you want to say hello, if possible?
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, wow. What timing this is. And I have my video off because it's dark in here and it'll cut into my bandwidth. So anyway, it's a pleasure to meet everybody, and I'm sorry it's under this circumstance, but it's been a great year working with Freshman Transition program, and I'm sure Aaron talked about it a little bit. But it truly is a great program, and the kids have really benefited from it. We've got some great feedback also from this year about things to tweak even for next year. But it is a great collaboration between the upperclassmen and the freshman class. And, kids like to hear things not just from educators and counselors and administrators and teachers. They like to hear it from their peers. So they really do share really valuable information on the life in high school and organizing and how they're managing their time and balancing sports and things like that. So it's a great program, and I'm really, really happy to be part of it.
And Tim, do you want to take this slide about sort of September and how we launch into the year?
Yeah, so September is a really busy time, obviously, for the ninth graders, and the freshman transition leaders are really helpful in the very beginning of the year, giving tours to the freshman class on the first day and meeting with them in their health classes in the first few weeks. We also have the activities fair, which happens in the blue gym, where all the clubs will set up information booths, and the ninth graders can come in and walk around and get a lot of information on, what clubs are available, and they will sign up really on the spot so that they can get involved with those clubs pretty much right away. Some kids will go around and sign up for 5, 6, or 7 clubs, and that's great. But sometimes they'll end up only really doing a couple there. So that's the activities fair. The freshman transition group took the ninth graders to Boundless Adventures this September for a team building field trip, which was really great. The kids got a chance to climb, and they got a chance to, really bond with each other. And it was just a fun way of having the groups connect. So September is a pretty busy time at Bronxville High School for the freshman class, and it does feel quick and it moves quick, but it does help the kids really get acclimated to.
Oops. I think Tim would have completed that sentence by getting acclimated to the high school. I'm going to pass this on to Aaron, who's going to go over a bit of the specifics of graduation from our high school, as we are a New York State public school, and what the minimum requirements are.
Yeah, thank you. And so can't talk about high school graduation without the requirements. And I think what is mainly the big takeaway here, I mean, not that anybody really needs to track their own requirements or credits, I should say. The school counselors take care of that. English, language, although there's just one credit required for this state of New York. You think those
Aaron, Aaron,
child
Aaron,
class
I'm gonna
in those
stop.
departments.
Aaron, you're kind of coming in and out, so I think I'm just gonna take over for a minute because the sound is a little bit messed up. Maybe you want to turn your video off. That could be helpful. But I'm just gonna fill in what I think Aaron was sharing, which is these are minimum requirements for graduation, and we will ensure that your children get them. But often our students are applying to competitive colleges. And so many of our students, for instance, will take 4 years of math, 4 years of science, 4 years of a foreign language. So we do like to put these up just to let you know what they are, but our students often exceed these. And we'll go to the next slide, and I'm going to see, Aaron, if you want to try to go over the regions.
Sure, I'm gonna do this with my camera off while I also try to get online here. So New York State regents are still very much around. The students are required to take 5 of them. Some of your children will actually be taking their first one if they're in Algebra 1 right now. So that'll be in June. And then the remaining 4 will be taking as they sort of finish each corresponding course. The World History exam is in sophomore year. The US History exam is in junior year, as too is the English class, the English exam, excuse me. Depending upon what science you take in 9th grade, you might actually sit for your science regents in 9th grade. And if not, you'll take it most likely in junior year. And the students that are not taking Algebra 1 as 8th graders will most likely take Algebra 1 in 9th grade, in which case they will take the Algebra Regents at the end of 9th grade.
Okay, so I'm going to speak a bit about the high school schedule now. And for those who joined late, Aaron has no internet and Tim has no power. Aaron is our director of guidance and Tim is the 9th grade counselor. So that is why you don't see them and they're not speaking as much as we planned. So we apologize for that. If you look at this sample high school student schedule, you will notice that our high school has something called block scheduling. And block scheduling means that students meet with their class for 80 minutes every other day. And so students have half their classes each day. So you'll notice Studio Art 1 meets AB block on days 1, 3, and 5. And say English meets C block on days 2, 4, and 6. So here's another way to look at it. And this is unique in the high school, and we think it is an advantage because it provides students 2 nights to get their homework done. It also results in students being better at planning their time in preparation for college. And it is a less stressful schedule, in fact, because students only need to worry about half their classes on any given day. This is a change when students come into the high school that the freshman transition leaders will work with the freshmen on. But overall, it is a wonderful schedule. And students, although they might take a little bit of time to get used to it, they do get used to it and enjoy it very much. You will notice that, for instance, PE, as well as Health 9 and Science labs are 40 minutes, not 80 minutes. So those are slightly different, but in general, all courses meet 80 minutes every other day. So what we're going to talk about now are the courses that are available to our incoming 9th graders, and these can be viewed by department on the course catalog website. The link is here. I will also send it tomorrow when I send a recording of this meeting. This is where there are short videos about each course in the high school, so we hope that's helpful. And to begin, we'll talk a bit about math. So in the math department, there are a number of pathways to through the 4 years of high school math. And students essentially are on a particular pathway based on the course they come into ninth grade in. That course is determined by your child's performance in eighth grade, along with their performance, if they are taking the Algebra 1 Regents, their performance on that Regents exam, as well as a teacher recommendation. So you can see that students who begin ninth grade in geometry have the opportunity through 4 years of math to make it to a calculus course. Students who begin in geometry honors will be on a path to get to AP Calculus AB, and those who are in GeoTrig accelerated end up in AP Calc BC. We have a number of math and computer science electives in the high school, including AP Statistics and 2 different AP Computer Science courses. And so those 3 courses that I just mentioned are not available to ninth graders, but in 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, your child may be interested in those. Something to keep in mind with math is that in middle school math, students start to move to different levels of math. And so there's kind of, we find, a hyper focus from students and parents on math placement coming into ninth grade. But what you're going to notice as we go through these slides is that the high school offers a lot of different ways for your child to delve deeply into areas that they're interested in. And not everyone is a math person. And so getting to BC calculus is not necessarily everyone's goal. So I think it's important to know that students may want to do more in social studies or English or art in the high school, and that their math trajectory is not the end all be all for their high school experience. The next department I wanted to go over is the science department. And in the science department next year, most students will take our ninth grade core science, which covers chemistry and physics. And then students in 10th grade will move into the core of 10th grade, which is a semester of biology and a semester of earth science, so that by the end of 10th grade, students will have taken all of the core science courses, which means that they have a lot of choice going into 11th grade. They can take what's called the level 2 course, which is a year-long course that ends in a Regents exam. Students, as Aaron showed, are required to take 1 science Regents to graduate from a New York State public high school. So we offer bio, earth science, and chemistry too. We offer a non-AP environmental science that is a year-long elective. We offer a variety of advanced placement science courses, AP Chem, AP Bio, AP Environmental, AP Physics 1, and AP Physics 2. And we offer a number of different electives in the science department. We have a semester-long Intro to Engineering. We have a year-long Bronx River Research, a semester robotics. We have semester-long Entrepreneurship 1 and Entrepreneurship 2. And then we have two new electives for next year, which are semester-long Oceans and Anatomy and Physiology. Most of those electives are not open to ninth graders because ninth graders are in chem and physics. But we'll have a slide at the end that'll show what is open to ninth graders. There are a very small number of students who are very interested in science, highly motivated, and extremely organized, who attempt to double in the core in ninth grade. That is to take chem and physics as well as bio and earth science in ninth grade. As a former science teacher who taught some of these courses, as a person who loves science, and as a parent of a high schooler, this is not something I recommend. It is extremely intense, and transitioning to high school itself is a challenge for many students. This adds to that challenge. There is plenty of time in high school to explore science. It does not need to be crammed into ninth grade. There are a few students who can handle this and do well, but not many. And I would say the most important thing is organizational skills and motivation to study science. If your child is really motivated and interested, you can speak to Mr. Nelson about that possibility. But again, there is plenty of time in high school to explore science, so I do not recommend doubling in science in 9th grade. We're going to move on to the English department. 4 years of English is required. So you will see that all of our students will take English 9. They will then all take English 10. In 11th grade, there are 2 options. There's English 11 or AP English Language. And in 12th grade, there are 2 options, English 12 or AP English Literature. So 9th and 10th grade, everyone is taking the same English course. We do have an elective in the English department, speech and debate, which is a semester long, and that is open to 9th graders. And many 9th graders take that and find it very useful. Social studies, we are also, our students are also required to take 4 years. This is sort of a standard progression. We have World History 1 in 9th. Everyone takes that. In 10th, students do have a choice between World History 2 or AP World History. If they perform extremely well in 9th grade and are ready for a lot of work. In 11th grade, we have US History or AP US, and in 12th grade, we have Economics and Political Science, or AP Macro and AP US United States Politics. That's our 12th grade option. And then we have a couple of semester, well, actually psychology is a semester elective that students can opt into. We do not offer that to 9th graders. And then Bronco TV is a year-long elective, not offered to 9th graders though. World language, your child is in a world language now, and your child can choose, along with your help in making this decision, to continue. Or we do offer a Spanish 1. Students can switch to Mandarin. That course is taught virtually. So students are in a classroom and they log on to Zoom and are taught by a teacher who is not located in our building, but that has been a successful program. And just to be aware, French, Latin, and Spanish do progress up through the AP level if your child comes in at a level 2, or in Spanish, the Spanish 9 level. And in the world language department, there are 2 electives that are semester-long: philosophy and mythology. Performing arts, we have outstanding performing arts programs with our orchestra, our band, and our chorus. If your child wants to speak to their current teacher in one of these, that would be the teacher they would continue with into high school. We highly recommend this. There is a graduation requirement of 1 year of fine or performing arts. So we have a couple of electives that can serve as a performing arts component to this requirement if a student chooses. We have a semester acting, semester directing, and semester speech and debate. Just to answer, we had a question. Let me go back to the world language. Mandarin, we have a Mandarin 1, a Mandarin 2, a Mandarin 3, and a Mandarin 4. But obviously incoming students would be in Mandarin 1. So there are 4 years of Mandarin. We will move on, and we're almost done going over the departmental information, but we have a very extraordinary fine arts department. Our students have choices next year. Our current 8th graders going into 9th can take a Studio Art 1 course. If your child is very interested in pursuing art in high school, this is what we recommend, because this allows them to begin the progression to AP Art. We offer semester-long courses: digital photography, computers and art, ceramics, and creative crafts. And then not for 9th graders, but later in high school, we do offer AP Art History within this department, which is a wonderful class as well. So Tim will be meeting with your children and Aaron tomorrow, and they will be working with your child to select their courses for next year. For all of you to be aware, there are some courses that are not going to get selected because everyone takes them. That would be PE, Health 9, English, and World History. And just to share a tiny bit about Health 9, a semester of health is a graduation requirement in New York State. Health 9 fulfills half of that requirement. And that is the course that the freshman transition experience takes place in. And then students do finish their health requirement in 11th grade. There are courses that your child will get placed in based on their current course performance, academic performance, and teacher recommendation, and that includes math. If your child is one of the few children who might be considering doubling in science, that would also, we would be talking to their science teacher. And then in 9th grade, there are choices that students can make regarding courses, and those are the choices that they're going to make tomorrow. And those choices include language, which language they would like to do. Would they like to continue in their current language? Would they like to potentially take a level 1 of a new language? What art / music / theater arts credit would they like to sign up for? Your child may be continuing in band, orchestra, or chorus. That will fulfill that credit. They may choose to take acting and directing or an art course. There are a few options for art, maybe speech and debate along with acting or directing. That will fulfill that 1 year fine and performing arts requirement. And then there are some optional electives that your child may express interest in. These include our Intro to Java programming, Intro to Engineering, Speech and Debate, Mythology, Philosophy, and Entrepreneurship 1 and 2. You'd have to take 1 to take 2. And it's just worth noting that students may sign up for courses. It doesn't mean all of those courses will fit into their schedule, but we will be letting students know what does fit into their schedule before they leave over the summer. And so I'm going to hand it over to Aaron to add anything I missed. Aaron?
Yeah, can you hear me? I'm going to keep my
Yep.
camera off this. Yeah. Just to add, you know, Tim and I have been meeting with the 8th graders during advisory prior to spring break. So they've heard all about the courses that are offered. They've heard from some current 9th graders about the courses that they're currently taking. And again, as Ann mentioned, tomorrow we are meeting with them again to pick from these 3 options in front of them. And so, you know, if anything comes up along the way between, you know, now and the end of the year, Tim's accessible, I'm accessible, and Ann is also very much accessible as well. We will have some type of tentative schedule for students to the extent of these are the classes that you are registered to take in September that we will give out to everybody in the high school, including the rising 9th graders. I would anticipate late May, early June to receive some communication on that on those lines. So again, as Ann mentioned, they'll know what they're scheduled for before September. And then more specifically, in case you're wondering, in late August, I think it's like the week before school starts, students will have access to their actual schedule of when they have what class on what day with what teacher. They get access to that the week before school starts, so they're able to log into Infinite Campus as you are as well, and see that schedule. I think that's all that I wanted to add on that front.
Thanks, Aaron. There was just a question in the chat, and yes, the answer is essentially tomorrow. Your child is going to indicate what language they will be planning to take in high school. They'll indicate an art, music, or theater arts option that they're interested in pursuing. And they will potentially, they don't have to choose any electives, but they could indicate 1 or 2 electives that they might be interested in. It's worth noting, you know, we're a relatively small school. We have about 520 students. A lot of these electives are singletons, meaning one section exists. So students can get what we call conflicted out of an option that they're interested in. So not everything necessarily fits for every student. We do our best to get as many students as we can in. But a ninth grader who, let's say, wants to take entrepreneurship might not get it in ninth grade, but would still potentially have the option later in high school. So that is why we're going to provide those lists of what your child has signed up for that got scheduled. And so you have a sense of that before the summer. But there could be conflicts and not everything gets scheduled. And sometimes you'll find out, oh, I didn't get into this. And you'll say to Mr. Nelson, can I try this other thing? And that might fit. So we do have some time for that to happen. A couple other questions that came up. Students could sign up for speech and art and wait on the electives that are on the last list. Yes, definitely. Studio Art 1 is a full year course. There are a bunch of other art courses that are half-year courses, but some of them have to be taken together to fulfill the art graduation requirement. Speech and Debate is a semester course. And all the course descriptions are on the course catalog website. You can find that on the high school webpage under school info. And I will also include the link in my email to all of you tomorrow morning when I send out this recording. This PowerPoint will also be available tomorrow when I send out the email in the morning. I'm realizing people are asking about it immediately after this session because the sign-up's happening tomorrow. So I will send this PowerPoint and the link to the course catalog website right after this meeting. And then in the morning, I'll send it again when I have a link to the recording, just so you have as much as you can this evening.
I'll just
go ahead,
can I just
Aaron.
chime in for a second? Yeah, just so everybody can breathe easy. If your child makes a choice that they've then changed their mind about, like, that too is okay, and these are not set in stone by any means. So if you don't have a chance to speak to your child, or in 3 weeks you hear about something that your child would be excited to take, you can reach out to me, you can reach out to Tim, and changes could be made throughout the school year, and Ann and I are around over the summer, throughout the summer as well. So this is not like the only opportunity to pick which language course you're going to take in high school. It's just kind of like the first and time to do it.
If a student does not take band, orchestra, or chorus, they absolutely fulfill their fine and performing arts requirement with an art course. Or they could take acting and directing, or they could take speech and debate and acting or directing. So it is not just a performing arts credit requirement, it's fine or performing arts. So either one of those fulfills that. In terms of a description about the electives, I'm happy to do that. So the Intro to Java course is a semester course. It is really giving students an introduction to computer programming through the Java language. It is project-based. It's a really fun, interesting course. Intro to Engineering is project-based. Students use our 3D printers. They use CAD programming to design things. That's a great course. Speech and Debate is exactly what it says, working on public speaking methods. Mythology, philosophy, those are within the World Language Department. Those are studying those topics and comparing those topics to modern day. And then Entrepreneurship 1 and 2, studying sort of business practices, thinking about how to generate an idea, do market research on it, and then students actually pitch ideas. So this year, students are signing up in a group at once because Mr. Nelson is everyone's guidance counselor. And so students will start to meet with their parents and their individual guidance counselor starting in sophomore year. And that person travels with your child all 3 years. Okay. So the semester versus year-long, absolutely, we can try to clarify some of that in this PowerPoint before I send it out. If your child is not sure what he or she or they need to sign up for. Mr. Nelson is available, Mr. Kind is available. And if you would like to follow up and see that if your child did it correctly or what they did, you know, again, once we have that Google form that they're going to fill out, we're happy to follow up with you if you have any questions or concerns. Choices are going to be made tomorrow on a Google form, but if you want to follow up and just double check or make any changes, as Aaron said, we can continue to do that through the spring. Let's see. Last question I see is about which courses ninth graders tend to take. Speech and debate is a big ninth grade course. Studio Art 1, acting and directing, those all have a lot of ninth graders every year. Intro to Java will get a good number of ninth graders. Entrepreneurship 1 and 2 tends to be 10th, 11th, and 12th graders. But we do have some students really passionate about that who are interested in doing it in ninth, so we have opened it up. Mythology and philosophy, to be honest, is just a balanced mix of all 4 grades. Aaron, did you have anything else to share about sort of what you see? You can sign up for more than one language, yes.
Yeah, no, I think you covered that quite well. I would add maybe if computer science or engineering is something that your child is particularly interested in, I would maybe encourage them to try to do that sooner than later. I think the question also said like when to do certain electives. So like the quicker you could get deeper into these disciplines, sort of like the more options you would have in grades 10, 11, or 12. Not to mention just like, you know, the better you can pull out your string of curiosity as you go through high school and sort of build some of these semester electives into bigger studies throughout high school and sort of like just like have a wider runway of a path to take as your children become upperclassmen.
I will say though, your child does not have to take Intro to Java in order to take, for instance, AP Computer Science Principles. So don't feel like a pathway is shut down if your child isn't in one of those. But if your child is interested, it's a good time in ninth grade to explore these areas. So just to review, English is set, world history is set. For most students, science is set. Math is going to be determined by how students do in their current math course and potentially on the Algebra 1 regions. So there's just a few places students are making choices. They're choosing a language, or if they want to double too. That doesn't happen as much, but it is, so a few students will do that. They're probably choosing a finer performing arts credit. We like to get that done in ninth grade. And then they should probably, if any of these look interesting, put down an elective or maybe 2. The Intro to Engineering is open to all grades, but we definitely have ninth graders in there. So, and then these things will get processed by us, and you and your child will get a list of what you're signed up for next year. At any point between tonight and when school starts, I'm not saying that things can get completely changed, but if something needs to be tweaked, we will do our best to accommodate that. So don't feel like tomorrow every decision has to be done and finalized. I will be building the master schedule in early May, and this is what it's based on, is student requests. So we get as close to the full ninth grade requesting what they're interested in as possible, so we can build the best schedule based on those requests. But changes are always made, and that is normal for incoming ninth graders. Really, this was a lot of information for all of you. We hope it was helpful. It may feel overwhelming. We are here to walk you completely through the process. Tomorrow, Aaron and Tim are going to meet with the ninth graders. If anyone needs to follow up after that, you're welcome to. At the end of this meeting, I will send out the PowerPoint and the link to the website, which has all the courses with videos that we offer in the high school. And just to reiterate, we have a whole program called Freshman Transition that Tim, our ninth grade counselor, facilitates to ensure that there is a smooth transition for all of our ninth graders into high school. It's a big change, but it's an exciting change coming from middle and going into high school. Our students tend to love coming into the high school because they have more choice, more independence. They like the block scheduling. So I hope your children are looking forward to it. Being a little bit nervous is normal, but we're going to be here every step of the way to help walk them through it. If you have any other questions, you're welcome to stay and ask them. If not, you are always welcome to email us. And we look forward to meeting all of you and meeting your children in the months to come. Thanks for joining us. We will stay on for a few minutes if anybody has any questions. If you have a question, you can put it in the chat or feel free to unmute yourself.
Hi, a quick question,
Yep.
and it might have been answered before. How, and I have an older girl in 10th grade, and I think she was self-sufficient, so we didn't necessarily go through this as parents. But how much are the kids aware of everything that you talked about?
Mr. Nelson has met with them and gone over it. His focus, I think, has mainly been, and Aaron, if you want to answer this too, has mainly been ninth grade, but we wanted to give you as parents this general overview of the high school.
Right. Okay. Thank you. So kids
Mhm.
know about all of this. Like, we don't really have the need or impetus to like jump in tonight to make
No.
sure like they're ready for something tomorrow. Thank you.
No, they should be good.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and this
Yeah,
is Tim. I don't know if you guys can hear me, but in the last meeting that we had with the 8th grade, we went through all the electives and all the course offerings in pretty great detail.
I definitely missed that they were having to fill out a Google form tomorrow. I don't know if I missed that on an email, but just to be clear, this is something that they do at school. Parents are not involved. This is what I've been hearing about the electives and all that, correct?
Yep. And they've been walked through the whole process. We're just filling you guys in as well.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. I'm just putting our contact info in here if anyone needs to email any of us. Please feel free to reach out if you have any additional questions. Thanks, everyone. Have a good evening. I hope you all continue to have power and internet. Good luck to Tim and Aaron on your power and internet issues. Good night, everybody.
Good night.